Okay, all done for today. There we go. And why are you guys still here? We're done for today. Go on, go home. What do you mean we're not done? Okay, alright. I'll stop messing with you. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Animation Station, your one-stop destination for anything and everything animation, and welcome to one of the most unprepared, unexpected, and complete surprise reviews I'm probably ever going to put out on this entire channel. And that is the latest movie from DC and Warner Brothers Animation, titled Legion of Superheroes. Now, let me make something very clear here. I do not know about the Legion of Superheroes comic books. I haven't heard of them before, I haven't encountered them before. They're new to me, so I can't say whether or not this adaptation is faithful to those characters or not. I'm just judging it as a film. And falling off of Battle of the Super Sons, which I absolutely loved. I mean, after all, I made my top 10 best list alongside Dragon Ball Super Broly and Sonic 2. And Dragon Ball Super Superhero and Sonic 2. So, obviously, I really loved that film. So, going into this new one, I had pretty high expectations. I thought they were going to get back on track. We were back to the great DC Universe movies. But unfortunately, I was just disappointed. Now, do I think this is a bad film? No, absolutely not. This is not a bad movie, but it's a very average one. Now, I think focusing on Supergirl over Superman was an interesting idea. We don't really see many movies about her lately. I mean, we've seen her multiple times in the comic books, but movie-wise, what do we have? We have the terrible, so that's good, abysmal live-action Abomination that came out, I believe, only a few years after the Richard Donner Superman movies, which just got worse and worse with each entry, aside from Superman 2. And even as someone who isn't a fan of Superman, I do enjoy Supergirl's character. My introduction to this character was actually Injustice. That was my introduction to Kara and her story and her character. And I like her. She's different than Superman, but not so different to the point of just being, stupid. So going into this movie, like I said, I had great expectations because I like Supergirl as a character. The premise sounded interesting, and I didn't know about this Legion of Superheroes, so I'm like, you know what, I'll give it a chance. It should be at least okay. And that's what I got, a movie that was just okay. Now, it does have some pluses. This does have great voice acting, especially from Jensen Ackles, who returns as Batman after the long Halloween, and he is great here, even though he's more of a glorified cameo. Superman's fine. He's not really the most interesting character in the world, even though I do like how with the animation they tried to make him kind of look like the original cartoon version of Superman, with the muted colors, and yeah, it was an interesting design to say the least. And the animation definitely has some style to it. It reminds me a lot of something like Batman Brave and the Bold, the animated cartoon show, where they drew the backgrounds and then drew these super thick black lines around the characters to make them stand out from the background. Very comic booky, I'll put it that way. And the style here is definitely really good. And I did enjoy the second half where the actual action starts. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, the first half of this movie was boring. Almost excruciatingly boring. It wasn't because of Kara, no. Kara wasn't the reason it was boring. It just felt so by the numbers. It didn't really feel like it was trying to push boundaries or try anything new, because I believe this is not even close to the first DC Universe movie that uses this particular animation style. And coming off the heels again, Battle of the Super Sons, which tried to go for the big 3D aesthetic, and aside from obvious lazy T-pose Superman, it pretty much succeeded, and it was pretty good, even though Dragon Ball Super Superhero was better, but it had a bigger budget, so I'm going to give it a little leeway. But this one, I don't know. The animation just wasn't really jiving with me. Like, it felt a bit unrefined. Like, when it's up close, you can see, like, textures, you can see details and stuff like that, and it looks okay. When you, like, see them far out, when their face is, like, this, like, it looks rough. It looks like really rough, unfinished drawings of animation. And that sucks, because I feel like it could have been refined had they even given more time. And I'm sorry, I did not like this Legion of Superheroes. I mean, I've learned from Guardians of the Galaxy to try giving these lesser team heroes a chance, but I'm sorry, the Legion just didn't interest me. Like, at all. They just bored me. They just felt like boring cliches. And again, if I'm insulting the actual source material here, I'm sorry, but the Legion was just never interesting to me in this movie. Like, ever. And not to mention, it pulls one of the most half-assed, generic, cliche hero-turned-villain twists I've seen in a while. And I got a bone to pick about some of this movie's logic. Especially one part, this is not a spoiler, was released as a clip by Warner Brothers themselves, so this is not a spoiler. So, Supergirl, Brainiac, and other random guy walk into the security lab, this security vault with all the weapons and all that stuff. And Brainiac is trying to crack the code. And as soon as they walk through the door, it is revealed that the code is made up of Tetris blocks. Like, Tetris blocks? Really? That was the best you could come up with? Tetris blocks. Just Tetris blocks. You call yourself a intellectual individual, and yet you use freaking Tetris blocks as your security code? What were you thinking? Like, that is extraordinarily stupid. I don't know what writer came up with that, but congratulations, sir. That is the dumbest part in the whole movie. And as soon as it popped up on screen while I was watching, I literally had to pause it because I was laughing so hard. Not because it was actually funny, but because it's just so freaking dumb. Like, Tetris blocks! Why Tetris blocks? The pictures on screen, like, oh my god. Like, were they rushed for time or something? Like, why would you resort to Tetris blocks? Like, ugh. So yeah, the first half... Sorry, I'll stop talking about the Tetris blocks now, but my goodness, that is stupid. So, as the movie progresses, we see more of this dark circle that they're talking about, then it's revealed who the leader is, and it turns out it's Brainiac. And this is one part of the movie I actually really did like. They went really dark and grisly with Brainiac. Not Brainiac 5, the other Brainiac that was supposed to be dead, but apparently survived. I don't know, I haven't watched the other DC Universe movie that's connected to this one. Apparently. So, yeah. It's Brainiac. And he literally ripped apart pieces from his clones to rebuild himself. It's grisly. It's dark. It's that kind of boundary-pushing shit that I love about DC. And in the end, this is the only spoiler I'll give, don't worry. In the end, Brainiac's death is like a Mortal Kombat fatality. Like, you don't see much, obviously, because it's PG-13, but it is some Mortal Kombat level stuff. It is dark, it is grisly, it is bloody, even though you don't see a lot of blood, you just see the shadow, but oh my goodness, it is a gruesome demise. And if it were R-rated, they would have showed that death. Like, again, that is some Mortal Kombat level stuff. And that's one part of the movie I legit just went like, whoa! Was not expecting that! And the big elephant in the room, and probably why a lot of people think this movie is woke garbage, even though I think that term just needs to die, is Supergirl herself and the way that she is portrayed. And how she ends up hooking up with Brainiac 5 after they have a bit of a scuffle. No, there's no sex in the movie. No, you're not getting that. But I feel like it was very natural, very natural. I didn't feel that forced, and it made sense in the context of the story. Not to mention, Brainiac 5 saves her life when she's stabbed with a kryptonite dagger. I mean, come on. And then the ending is good, and then there's the post-credit scene, which we need to talk about. I'm not going to go much into detail with it, because, again, spoiler, but the post-credit scene is so confusing. Like, yes, we see a bit more of Jensen Ackles' Batman, which is always a plus, because Jensen Ackles is a great Batman. But, I don't know, the post-credit scene just left me more confused than anything else. Like, it's a very confusing ending. Like, you're going to be looking at it like, what the hell was that? What the hell? You know, it's one of those endings where you're just like, well, what happens now? And I know that Batman Doom That Came to Gotham isn't connected to it, or at least I don't think it is. And I'm not sure if I'm going to review that one or not, because Batman uses magic, which just sounds unbelievably stupid, so I probably won't watch it. But it has Jeffrey Combs, so I might bite the bullet and watch it anyway. I don't know. But, as for Legion of Superheroes, it's fine. It's a fine film. I almost called it good because I really did enjoy the second half and the connection she has with her mom, and it is a really nice ending. But the post-credits scene and the first half of the movie being such a boring slog, like, if those freaking Tetris blocks didn't pop up on screen just make me laugh, I probably would have just got out of the movie right then and there because I was so bored. But Supergirl's portrayal here is good. Voice acting is good. Animation is mixed. But I feel like the story needed more work. The structure needed a bit more refinement. The writing isn't all that good. And yes, those calling it woke garbage, I'm sorry, but you're just wrong, and that term needs to die. So my final verdict for this movie is going to be a disappointing, average 5.5 out of 10. 5.5 out of 10. It is a movie that I think is worth watching once for DC fans, but that's really about it. It's a movie that's not really that rewatchable. Like, I've seen it once and I feel satisfied. I don't want to go back again and rewatch it. But it's fine. It's a fine movie. Like, if you want to go out and buy it, I'm not going to stop you, and I'm not going to question you if you think this movie is actually good. And if you think this movie is bad and I'm just being a nincompoop, well, I'm sorry if I infuriated you. That's really all I can say. So, that's gonna do it for this review. Almost 20 minutes, damn. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that algorithmic garbage. And since Spider Phantom's taking over the channel tomorrow to review 2 of his favorite SpongeBob episodes, I probably won't see you guys again until the day after. So, until then, thank you guys for watching. I'm Jack Small of Animation Station, and I'll see you when I see you. Take care.